Hi, this is Sheena from Bescene, and I'm very excited. I'm here with my new client, Lance Miller, who is a professional public speaker and actually a world champion.
That's right. That's
Lance,
right.
tell the audience, first of all, what does it take to be an awesome public speaker?
It takes a lot of practice, quite honestly. As I say, if you want to be a speaker, you have to speak. And there's a lot of people that I see think they can just stand up and wing it. And I really compare speaking to a muscle. And it's like we sit on our couches for 20 years eating Haagen-Dazs, watching Law and Order, and then a friend comes over and goes, "Hey, let's go run around the block." And that's like a friend saying, or somebody saying, "Hey, could you stand up and speak at this banquet?" And we haven't been doing any of it. And while we may be totally comfortable until we stand up in front of that group, all of a sudden, all this physiological phenomena turns on, and thoughts get lost, and we don't know what's happening. And I mean, literally, our blood pressure changes, our pulse changes. There's places that are dry go wet, and places that are wet go dry, and all these things happen. And really, the simplicity to me of public speaking is anybody can learn to do it. It is a muscle, you have to exercise it, and by and large, most of our speaking muscles I think in mankind are very atrophied. And so what we have to do is just get up there and start working on it, and we'll develop that muscle. That's what stage fright is. It's just actually a lack of frequency of speaking. You'll work straight through your stage fright as long as you continue to speak on a regular basis. You'll work straight through that.
Yeah, yeah. So, Lance, you were world champion Toastmaster a few years ago.
Just a couple years ago, that's right.
And that's opened up a huge opportunity. What's your role with Toastmasters?
Well, as a world champion, I'm a Toastmasters member. I'm not affiliated with Toastmasters International. But within Toastmasters, the World Championship is something that a lot of people in Toastmasters aspire to. And there's one winner each year, so it's a very, select group of people. And what I get to do since winning that is actually go out and work with Toastmasters all over the world and share with them what it takes to really find your messages, how to craft your speeches, how to connect with your audiences, and really try to help them get up to a point where they're speaking better. And I really want to emphasize this. To me, the whole Toastmasters experience is not about being a world champion. It's about going out and championing in the world what you believe in and having the voice to do that. And for years before winning the World Championship, I was speaking out on federal tax reform. I was speaking out on human rights and religious discrimination issues around the world. I was going out and teaching seminars on financial stability, all sorts of things that I believed in. And I learned that in Toastmasters, and that's to me, what it's really about.
Mm-hmm. It's like finding your passion and then
and being able to communicate about that and share that, share that with people. And I have to tell you, when you get up in front of an audience and you can really communicate and connect with them, you feel so alive that it's its own drug in a good way. And I really think that when we look at the world, there is this dearth of really good communication. And we watch politicians spin the facts, and the press, spin and manipulate, and you can get sort of jaded on people speaking. But when you're in an environment where you really have a great speaker who is genuine, they're sincere, they're humble in their approach, they're inspiring in their message, it's a great experience, I think, for everybody.
So you also work with corporations and teach leaders how to be great leaders?
I do a lot. With all the speaking I do, my real love is actually leadership and sort of like organizational design. And that comes out of my own frustration of working in so many organizations that were designed so poorly. I really wanted to succeed. I really wanted to do well. And the organization was set up that it made it very difficult for me to do that. And what I really love to do is help people put their organization, business, nonprofit group, whatever, put it together so there's really good alignment and clear goals, and people know where they're going, and there's a lot of agreement on what they're doing. And there's some very specific tools I have that help just sort all that out. It's not complicated. As most things in life are simple, I think, when you get down to them. And if you stick with the basics, you stick with the simplicities, that allows everything to work. It gets complicated to the degree that we get away from those fundamentals.
Right, right. One of your other passions is startups and entrepreneurship. Tell us about how important public speaking is in that.
Well, over the course of my life, I've done a number of turnarounds and startups. I've done 5, what I would say, successful business startups or new product launches. And I've done a number that haven't worked. I've learned more from the ones that didn't work than the ones that did work. But when, an entrepreneur is a very special breed of person, and you're taking a concept, an idea, a product, a service that doesn't exist, and you're pushing that out into the world and getting people to accept it. And that's done through effective communication, because it starts with an idea, and that idea then becomes something that's actual and real in the minds of other people. And that starts with an individual getting people to buy into the fact that this thing can happen. And it's very easy there's tons of people that have ideas, and either number one, they don't share them with anybody, so the ideas go nowhere, or they share them with somebody, and
well, who doesn't matter?
okay, or we're here in my living room with my biggest fan club behind me, Kathleen.
Anyways,
No, so anyway, what I'm going to say is that sometimes they'll share those ideas with people, and what happens is they get some sort of invalidation, or the idea gets refuted, and then they go, oh, maybe I guess it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And so when that happens, the idea doesn't go forward. So it takes a special breed of person to actually push these things forward and make them happen, and be able to persist in the area they want to.
Yeah. And so what's next on the tour? You're going to Canada soon? Is that?
Actually I'm in New York, and then the next weekend, this is in a few weeks down the road, I've got quite a bit of stuff I'm doing in LA for about the next 4 or 5 weeks. And then I'm in New York doing management training for a national management company. And then the next week I'm in Vancouver at a Toastmasters conference doing training for Toastmasters. And then I've got a couple corporate keynotes set up in in June, that's what it is, in June, as well as some other Toastmasters training that I'm doing in Chicago. So.
Great. And so for the audience, if they want to get in touch with you, how do they contact you?
Lance at lancemillerspeaks.com. All the information is right there. It's the easiest thing to find, or just Google Lance Miller Speaks, Lance Miller 2005, Lance Miller Toastmasters.
You're out there, aren't you?
I'll pop right up. There's this country singer named Lance Miller. That's not me, okay? That's not me. I wish it was, because if I had another profession, it would be singing country music. But, I'm afraid that I missed the boat on that one this time around. So.
On that note, thanks so much, Lance.
You're very welcome. Very welcome.